everyone, welcome to Spitfire SecDev. Today I'll be going through part 2 of how to set up a home lab for hacking and programming. If you didn't watch my previous video, make sure you do that. I go through all the basics of our setup, and today I'll be going through some additional features such as how to enable USB 3.0, have multiple screens, and save snapshots. Let's get started.
So I started up Virtualbox and turned on my Linux Mint machine. I'm in here, and right now we have full screen, which is great. But if we hop over to Kali, we'll see that it's not taking up my entire screen. And there's a reason it's going on and a way we can fix it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log in. And as you can see, it doesn't take up the full screen. If we hop up here to Devices, and we see the option called Insert Guest Edition CD Image. If we do a quick Google search, we get to the Kali website, and we see that Guest Editions is a way to provide mouse and screen integration, as well as folder sharing with your host operating system. So this is obviously something we want, and I'll go into some more features that this provides us in a little bit. But to basically get our Kali machine to have stuff like full screen and just other nice features, we're going to run these three commands right here. So let's hop back over, open up a terminal. You should see this on the top left. We're going to go full screen. So the first thing we want to do is run this command, sudo space apt dash get space update. And what this is doing is it's pulling down updates from the people that manage the Kali operating system. This is very similar to doing, a Windows update or a Mac OS update. After update, you just need to press the up arrow. It'll show our previous command and replace update with upgrade. You'll see something like this with a lot of text. These are just different packages that are going to be installed. Type a capital Y and press enter. And what this will do is this will kickstart the update process. While we're waiting on that to finish, let's hop back over to Linux Mint. If we go to the bottom left of our operating system, you'll see a black box, and that if you hover over, it says terminal. If we click on that, we're going to run the exact same two commands that we just ran. Sudo, sudo, space, apt, dash, get, space, update. Type in your password. And after that's complete, we're going to press the up arrow and change it from update to upgrade. Type a capital Y, and that'll start the update for this machine. During the update, you might see a screen like this. Just do what it says at the bottom, press Q to quit, and it'll keep the update going. You also might see a screen like this. Keep it as the default and press enter. This update process is going to take a little while, so while we're waiting, let's hop over to Firefox. And I'm going to navigate back to virtualbox.org. If you go over to the left and click on Downloads, you're going to see something directly underneath what we downloaded in Part 1, and it's going to say VirtualBox Extension Pack. We're going to download this and install it, and this is going to give us access to USB 2.0 and 3.0, which has a lot faster read and write speeds, along with some other advanced stuff that we probably won't cover. But in general, it's just a nice thing to have. So I'm in Firefox. When I click to download it, it's going to default to wanting to open it with VirtualBox Manager, which is exactly what we want. If this isn't the case for you and it downloads it to a folder, you should just have to double click on it, and it's going to automatically know to use VirtualBox Manager to open it. You'll see this dialog box pop up. Just press install.
3 hours later.
Alright, so for me, Linux Mint won the race for hopefully one of the longer downloads that we ever have to do. From here, what we're going to do is go up to Devices and do Insert Guest Edition CD. You'll see on your desktop a CD pop up, and if we click Run, we type in our password, and a new terminal window should pop up that'll install everything we need for Virtualbox guest editions. So some other features that this will enable is shared folders, a shared clipboard, and the ability to just drag and drop files onto your home screen. It makes it really easy to move back and forth between your virtual environment and your host environment. Once it's finished, it'll say press return to close the window. We'll do that. And given that we just updated a bunch of stuff on our system, along with installing guest editions, I'm going to go ahead and just reboot the computer. Once Linux Mint is booted back up, we can go ahead and remove the disk from our virtual drive by just going up to Devices and clicking Remove. It's probably going to display something like this. It's better if you do this within your guest system, but since we haven't really learned how to do that yet, I'm just going to do the Force Unmount option. So the next thing you want to do is create a share folder. The share folder will allow us to transfer files between our guest and our host. To do that, I'll post the link to this in the description, but essentially there's a really great post on the Virtualbox forums that goes step by step on how to do this. Rather than replicate this in this video, I'm just going to point you there. So the next thing after that we can do is set up our shared clipboard. We can either set it as host to guest, guest to host, or bidirectional. I'm going to do bidirectional. And then drag and drop, do the same thing. The next thing that we can do is create the ability for our guest to use multiple monitors. In this tutorial, I'm only using one monitor, but I'm going to show you how you'd go about doing that if you have multiple. So first, your machine needs to be shut down. Then you go over to Settings, click on Display, and then you're going to be able to adjust this bar for your monitor count. So if you have 2 monitors, you can move it to 2, so on and so forth. You also will probably want to enable video acceleration. You're going to see a pop-up down here for invalid settings detected. Just do as much as you can. For Linux, it's probably only going to allow 3D acceleration and not 2D. The last thing we're going to do in our Linux Mint machine is create a snapshot. A snapshot allows us to back up our operating system and everything that we have, all of our settings, any apps that we have. And what this will allow us to do is to mess around and try new things without worrying about breaking our system. If we do happen to mess something up, we'll be able to revert back to that snapshot and basically start over. So now that we've updated everything, we've configured Virtualbox guest editions, we're going to create a snapshot of this, and then in all future videos, pretty much, you can just revert back to the snapshot if anything goes wrong and start fresh. So to do that, we go up to Machine, click on Take Snapshot. I'm going to name it Clean, and then it should be pretty fast to create a snapshot. We can verify it worked by going back to our Virtualbox Manager and clicking on Snapshots. You'll see here that we have Clean, and then our current state is branching off of Clean. So now that Linux Mint has been configured fully, we can start doing a lot of the similar steps with Kali Linux. So early on in the video I mentioned how there's a special command to run to install guest editions in Kali. Unfortunately, the way we did in Linux Mint isn't the same way that we have to do it here, otherwise it'd be pretty easy. So before we just simply clicked on up in devices, insert guest edition CD, now we have to actually run a command on the command line. And so to do that, we just do sudo apt-get install Virtualbox, and if you press the tab key twice, it'll show you all the different packages available that start with Virtualbox. We're going to be doing guest x11. And there's a lot of additional packages that have to be installed for this to work. Once the Virtualbox command completes, we can go ahead and reboot our Kali machine. If the Virtualbox guest command installed everything correctly, upon reboot you should see your desktop screen go to full screen, just like Linux Mint. So the next step for our Kali machine is going to be creating a snapshot just like we did with our Linux Mint machine. Go ahead and do the same thing we did before. Name it clean so that you know that everything has been updated and configured correctly. Once we've created our snapshot, we can go ahead and shut down. So the last thing we want to do for both of our machines is enable USB 3.0. To do that, we go into our settings, USB, and just switch it over to 3.0. Both your machines need to be shut down in order to be able to change the setting. Alright, so now we have a up-to-date machine for both Kali and Linux with Virtualbox guest editions installed. This enables us to do things like create shared folders, have a shared clipboard, drag and drop files, have USB 3.0, and for Kali have full screen. So this will be the final video in our Let's Get Started series. Coming up, we're going to be getting into getting comfortable with Linux, programming in Python, and starting to use various hacking tools in Kali Linux.
Definitely check out my upcoming playlists. I'm going to be getting into a lot of different topics that I'm sure many of you are interested in. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching.